that's normal. So exactly the same settings. This one so far already got a lot more variety in it. Like, I'm actually seeing multiple biomes. Yeah, we've actually got, like, a good biome. There's, like, deserts up here. The Hill of Incense. Neat. And we've got, like, deserts and dunes and... The Land of Glee. Dimensions of Vision. The Ferocious Ocean. This is maybe a bit more my speed, actually. Kind of lacking in mountains, but... I do like the Land of Glee a whole lot. A whole lot. Not an actual fort? Oh, I completely missed it, but... I mean, Points of Disembowelment would make a really good fort name. I'm just putting that out there. Do you lose a lot of muns this time? Feels bad. Damn. $20K in the bank. You're doing good. I mean, I just got completely obliterated today with my all-in when I hit 10K hours, which makes me real sad. I'm not gonna lie. I think I like the naming in this one more. Although the Points of Disembowelment is pretty fucking good. So I don't know. Dimensions of Vision. We've got so many worlds generated under here. Got any swamps? We're staring at some right now. Those weird bulbous things around where all the elves are. Also, if you don't know this tile set and you're confused about what a sprite is, just like ask. Like these right here. This is all swamps. The Faithful Fort. Yeah, although they literally just had a Necro Tower pop up in the middle of the Faithful Forests. I wanted to read that as fortresses, but... Actually, no, it could be really fun. The Murk of Humor, and then go like a 50-50 biome on good and normal biome. That could be real fun right there. Put us real close to a bunch of gobos. Like, there could be lots of fun to be had right there. And we'd also be close enough that we could hit this stuff if we wanted to. Although, like we were saying earlier, I'm kind of thinking about doing like a... Like, this could be a fun spot right here. Assuming they have steel or something. Or at least some kind of metal. Yeah, I think they said they're showing trees next. Bamboozler. I mean, I'm gonna keep making the little videos. Even if I have to edit them on stream, I'm gonna keep doing it. – because it's literally the thing that's growing my YouTube channel right now, and that's crazy to me. But yeah, no, we got swamps, and then kind of in the middle of the screen, there's a whole lot of desert and dunes. This is a warmer world. Up at the top, we have, like, red deserts as well. What are you guys the most excited to see out of the Steam DF version, actually? The thing that actually is interesting to me about the Steam DF version with the stuff that they've shown is it's all very heavily zoomed in. And nobody really plays that zoomed in. So I'm really curious to know what that stuff looks like zoomed out. So many dead necro towers. But there's also so many necro towers. This little area here is getting corrupted. Interesting. I wonder why. Performance optimizations? Yeah, I'm curious to see if Toady implements any performance-heavy stuff. What kind of game is this? Question, how'd you find the stream? But this is Dwarf Fortress. This is one of the most complex games and one of the most interesting games ever made. We're currently generating a world to play in. It's a fantasy world simulation, I guess. It is probably the best way to describe it. It is a game where you can either explore an open world in kind of a sandbox RPG format or build a fortress of dwarves. That's what kind of game this is. I'm always fascinated about how people find the channel when I'm playing Dwarf Fortress when they say, what is this game? Because this is usually one of those games where if you're watching it, it's because you're specifically going, I want to watch Dwarf Fortress. Fun generator, yeah. Fun simulator. Also, Nano Thingy, I like your name a lot. Good username. Makes me think of like nematodes and small computers. Was sent from a house. Gotcha. Wasn't Disnoff, was it? You know, this is the game that inspired RimWorld. It inspired No Moria, Minecraft's level generation. One of the most important games ever made. What, Dwarf Fortress looks weird? If you don't know what you're looking at, yeah. We've been generating worlds for an hour, and then we're going to go look at the history that the world has generated for us. Once we decide. I can almost do a good and evil biome there. I don't know if I want to, but it kind of goes against what I want to do, but actually, I totally could. Settle right there. Man, this area down here is getting corrupted a whole lot. Another 50 years to go. Bunch of evil down in the south. Matrix code, John, is what newcomers think usually. But I'm extremely thankful that some people who've had initially negative reactions to the visuals of the game have like kind of come around on it and gone, oh, this actually is really cool once they stare at it for a little while. Hello, Tulkas. Evil. It's okay. Everybody in this chat knows we're pretty evil incarnate. I mean, if you have a subscription to this channel, you have a skull next to your name. I mean, come on. We're pretty goddamn evil. I mean, who doesn't like being evil? Seriously. Five more years. We're in the age of legends, in the dimensions of vision. Are we the baddies? I mean, we're destroying Earth, so humans are most definitely the baddies. God, there's a lot of dead towers in this world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probably missing some. 11, 12, 13. Fuck. 14, 15. I mean, it's a fancy skull that'll drink your blood out of a wine glass. But it's still skull. But yeah, kind of the area that I'm thinking about settling in would be around here. This is a much eviler world than the other one. But hopefully that would mean we'd get some interesting visitors. This would put us in, I think, range of humans. Also, for those of you who don't know, my bot really likes beer. So emotes that work, there's a bunch of emotes that make my bot post beer. So how can I ever make sense of this? And now you prefer ask over tile set. I prefer like a minimalist tile set. But yeah, I tend to agree. Right? So lots of different words make my bot post beer in the chat. Including some global emotes like HS Cheers and things like the beer and beers emojis also make my bot post beers. So if you see people doing a round of beers in chat, there's many ways that you can participate without like subbing. Although of course, if you want to throw me money to have that emote, that's fine by me. All right, I think we're gonna roll with this world, and I think we're gonna try settling here. It's kind of evil, but it also looks like the evil's being pushed back as fast as it's spreading, except for like down here where it kind of just has free reign. But even here, like the humans obviously have killed a few of these towers. Up there's the volcano. Hey, YouTube, who told you could turn on autoplay? Monsters showing up to murder you is the negative effects of starting an evil. I mean, it's really just, it's harder. But Dwarf Fortress's idea of making things harder, in my opinion, makes the game a lot less fun. Because it's like, oh, we're just going to throw more zombies at you early. Or, oh, it's going to be raining pus. And then the dwarves get really upset when they get pus on them. And you need a shower real quick because they're covered in pus and they're tracking pus into your fort. Or, oh, it's raining blood. You know, stuff like that. Not enough skulls in the stream? Well, more people need skulls then, obviously. Fun fact, there's a skull inside of all of us. All right, start playing. God, I've got 2 pages of... I really should delete some of these regions, shouldn't I? I have so many regions. It's region 11. Carnitim. I mean, of course, the creatures that are spawning. You get more weird, spooky, dark creatures spawning, so things like horrors, various other monsters, zombies showing up, you know, stuff like that. You can make say it's raining blood, you can make a mote of blood. Stuff, things like that. Like, yes, there are cool things that you can do, but for me personally, I prefer the more pretty and cutesy biomes because then everything starts off happy and nice and then slowly goes dark instead of starting dark and staying dark. You know what I mean? Basically, yep. Also, hey, Corey. All right, let's have a peek. Let's read some legends. The ferocious figure, the wooden paper, and the playful sin. Ferocious figure is a dwarven civilization of the dimensions of vision. The wooden paper is a dwarven group of the dimensions of vision. The playful sin, I like this one, is a goblin civilization of the dimensions of vision. In the time before time, a three-eyed devil, the Ashen became the Ashens, as in the YouTuber, became the master of the playful sin. In the land before time, the three-eyed devil, the Ashen, ruled over the larval bastion of the playful sin in Wicked Lead. The infamous plague and the playful sin founded the group Sculpted Wraith. All right. Yeah, it looks like we have one Dwarven Civ, I think. Seducer of Taming, Confederacy of Slop. The Confederacy of Slop was a human civilization of the dimensions of vision. The League of Trimming of the Confederacy of Slop was founded in Noblekiss. Oh, humans, you're so stupid. Found a council. And a night creature named night creature's spouse, Bandy, problem murdered. The Ashen Shade of Confederacy of Slop created the position of lawgiver. So they made a night creature their lawgiver? Well, that's going to go well. Problem murdered the Ashen Shade. So the Confederacy of Slop made a shade their lawgiver. What else can we find? Another human group. Elven. So we only have the ferocious figure, which is dwarven. Everything else is not. The washed seducer. Irons of Francis. Oh, no. Okay, so there are some other dwarven groups. But these guys didn't last very long. What happened to these guys? Irons of Fierceness? The Curse of the Emeralds. Okay. The Curse of the Emeralds attacked the Irons of Fierceness at Jungle Glazed. The Eyeless Fiend Rarest Sinful Glasses, the Symmetry of Cats led the attack. The defenders were led by the dwarf Bembul, Blameless Towns. In the year 44, the body of the dwarf Mesbith Archdreamed was impaled on an iron pike. The bodies of a bunch of dwarves were added to a gruesome sculpture. Sweaty Seducer? I saw a Moist Seducer on another stream, which was pretty funny. It was the name of a goblin pit. The Moist Seducer. The Moist Seducer. Well, Bembul Blameless Towns led the defense. Blameless Town. Died in 44. Bembul, in year 1, became the militia commander of the Irons of Fierceness. Fought with the Clash of Crazies at the Sunken Prairie. And fought in the Incinerated Assaults, an assault on Spider Gully. And Bembul fought the Onslaught in the Battle Assault of Maestarm. Curse of Emeralds attacked the Irons. Bembul fought in the attack, struck down a goblin, and was struck down by the Wraith of Fire. Died gloriously. You indeed, yeah. That's how I feel about a lot of goblin things. Let's see, who was their first king of the ferocious figure? The wooden paper. The brute of the night Egon became the enemy of the ferocious figure. Interesting. It's a very short amount of time to have a Baroness for. They only had a Baroness from because up here in where was it? Yeah, they had a Baroness that was replaced in 5 years. Probably died. But who's their king? Stukos Tome-Soaked. Let's learn a little bit about Stukos Tome-Soaked, the king. Tome-Soaked. Did I spell that wrong? I think that's it anyway. Okay, didn't survive very long. Stukos became the king of the ferocious figure. Became lovers with Bembul Guildmastered. Married Bembul Guildmastered. Fought in the Sharks of Defense. And then confronted the Black Devil in year 7. Like, these dwarves are, like, hitting devils and stuff in very early years. Very, very early years. So who is their second king, then? Baron. Bunch of dwarves became barons. Did they not get another king? They died in 7. I guess so, yeah. They held ceremonies as part of the celebration of urns. Hill Titan attacked them in year 9. Demanti. Glacial Beached. The Submerged. Cyclops attacked them. Huh. Let's see what happens if I just go here and type in king. Yeah, no, that doesn't give me what I want. Something of king in the year 8, did you? I totally missed that. I see general. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's Godem Bustum, the heroic turquoise of tomes, became the king. So let's go Bust Auburn. It's Bust Auburn, not Bustaburn. Bust Burn, by the way, is my new SoundCloud rapper name. There you go. Think. Perfect. Evil Stew, what's up? We're just building a new world. Thanks for the host. Cheers, man. Godin became the king of the ferocious figure and settled in Pride Post. So settled in Pride Post after becoming king. Odar Burns was offered to Godin by the dwarf Rotten Stalker. By the dwarf Rotten Stalker. I guess Rotten Stalker is like, there is some sort of undead. And you know, like his intro line is Bust the Burn kind of thing. Bust Auburn. I wouldn't want to disrespect. Fought in a lot of battles. This was a warrior king. Assault of Seizing. Onslaught of Steam. Against Epic, obviously. Evil Stew, thanks for the raid as well. Shit, dude. Oh, well, can I get a shout out for Evil Stew? I'm told, Evil Stew, if you're watching right now, that you're friends with a friend of mine named Evil Trick. Meow, 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 meow. Exactly. Exactly. You know, this king was a warrior king, but was eventually struck down by a troll in 57. But Godin and Dodek, bolt branded, cemented a bond of friendship amidst the horror of combat. So this is really like a warrior civilization. That's possible. No, I was talking with Evil Trick in a voice call the other day, and he just like mentioned you out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh yeah, one of my friends has been streaming Dwarf Fortress." I was like, "Oh, who?" And he's like, "Evil St." I was like, "Yeah, I know that guy." All right, let's go back into civs. So we know the king died in 57. Again, after fighting in a lot of wars. Yeah, Trick's part of my stream team. Hung out with him at TwitchCon. Is that why you're evil? Man. Lots of ceremonies. Processions and ceremonies non-stop for the ferocious figure. They really love their ceremonies. Evil Little Stew? Interesting. Spreading the ferocious figure contracted the Garlic of Stockades, which is a new fortress. The Garlic of Stockades. I think that's an anti-vampire fort. I love just sitting here and reading legends, chat. Like when this version of the game came out, we actually did a stream which was 13 hours long where I didn't actually make a fort. Or 14. For about 10 hours of those. We made a fort in like the last 3 hours and then I just went to bed. Was it Evil Little Stew? Fair enough. Yeah, I wouldn't call myself little. Okay, we're in the year 57. Lots of celebrations. Wrestling competitions. Processions. Performances. Very festival heavy. The Brute Consort of the Night became The Brute Consort of the Night, Lycot a Dyrule, became the Baroness of the Ferocious Figure. Go have your dinner. Cheers, man. Thank you very much for the raid and host. Yeah, no, I assumed that they'd be a Rotten Stalker would be a sentient undead, yeah. If you guys spot King, let me know. Oh, there we go. The dwarf Morul, Board Braid, became queen of the ferocious figure. Board Braid. Died in 62. Man, none of these dwarves do too well. Became a beekeeper of the wooden paper. Became lover with a dwarf necromancer. And then they broke up. A couple from 9 to 17. Married another dwarf. Began embezzling funds as a beekeeper. Divorced that dwarf. Hooked back up with Match Daxes, which was her original lover. The necromancer. And then in the midsummer of 46, the dwarf necromancer Id Matchdoxes corrupted the lover Moral in order to have someone act on plots and schemes in Pride Post. The dwarf necromancer Id Matchboxes met Moral and pulled rank as chief medical dwarf of the wooden paper. Trusted dwarf necromancer Id Matchdoxes agreed. And then attempted to corrupt her again, and did. Yeah, definitely a toxic relationship. And then Moral fought in a few battles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then became infatuated with Moral. Or no, Marl, yeah, there we go. Cyril enjoyed trade, became infatuated with Marl, and ceased to be the bookkeeper of the wooden paper, and was convicted of embezzlement of the wooden paper. How the heck does this dwarf go from being convicted of embezzlement to being imprisoned to then becoming the queen? What? Merle was imprisoned, became queen of the ferocious figure. What? Went from, in year 53, was imprisoned to becoming queen. Excuse me? Fought in sieges, 1, 2, 3. And then cemented a bond of friendship amidst the horror of combat with an elf. Fought in more attacks, 2, 3. Struck down people, including an elf. Was fighting with elves. Fought in the onslaught of seizing. And then cemented more bonds with a human this time. Very multicultural. Yeah, must have been real. Probably just bought the position. I mean, if they were embezzling funds the whole time, maybe got out and just used their wealth as all the skill, probably all the speech skills and stuff that they gained embezzling funds is what got them queen. And then attacked a forgotten beast, Simo Plague Fate, the ungodly thief of demons. The mouth was smashed and her mouth was smashed open permanently, they say, and was struck down. Damn. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen someone go from prison to queen before in such a short period. That's cool, though. Then dead, yes. So, you know, didn't do much good, right? But I'm curious. This dwarf was a dubious worshiper of Zas the Aqua Dyes. The dwarven god. Zas the Aqua Dyes is a deity that occurs in the myths of the ferocious figure. Zas was often depicted as a male dwarf and was associated with freedom and jewels. I mean, she must have been a fighter because she fought in a bunch of wars. I'm actually just going to go turn the light off that's next to my head because it's bothering me a little bit. I had it on for the records earlier so you guys could actually see the record player. I'll be back in a second. I mean, clearly you can't talk your way out of a fight because this isn't a CRPG. It's definitely a Bethesda RPG. Stab him in the face! It's the only way out. Or talk your way out of the fight and then stab him in the face anyway to get the loot. But yeah, that makes sense that this dwarf would have worshipped jewels and wealth because, you know, they were embezzling funds. I mean, what else could we look up? What's something else? Look at the historical map a little bit. This is a packed map, man. Like, year 1. Boom. Ferocious figures on the map as of year 50. The washed seducer. I can't get over that one. It's a busy map. It's kind of just everybody's everywhere. There's no like in between. Those maps are much more interesting in the large maps. Interesting. The dwarf Zuspagus, squash scorpion, became the master of the Curse of Emeralds in the year 141, in perception of the cult of piercing. The persecution of the cult of piercing occurred. I mean, it's all just in the game. You just have to go into Legends. I want to know who that dwarf is. Zuspagus Squash Scorpion, the master of the Curse of Emeralds. Because this is what started the Age of Legends. Also, Wolfstas, if you want to see some of my lore videos, exclamation point VID in chat. So if you like this kind of stuff. Just saying. Was a dwarf born in 88 of unknown parentage. And immediately, well, maybe not immediately, but first notable thing this dwarf did was become the master of the Curse of Emeralds. Became lovers with Dastot Gale Papers. Married Dastot. Made a journey to the depths of the world and tamed giant ohms. Returned to Jump Glazed. Anander, hello. About to start work. It's your first day back at work, right? Because you just got off your weekend, if I'm not mistaken. The Curse of Emeralds attacked the Tour of Barricades, the amusing Dune. Zuspagus led the attack. Fought in the clashes of rampages. Not super interesting, but I'm curious what the Curse of Emeralds is. 'Cause I think that's a Goblin Civ. I want to know. If I can just find it. Was a Goblin civilization. Interesting. Formed by the eyeless fiend of Rurust Sinful Flags. The Symmetry of Cats. I really like the name of this. The Vilyor Weeds of the Curse of Emeralds constructed the Bad Mushroom. I mean, these guys were making gruesome sculptures of rotten zombie corpses, and they seem like a good bunch of folks, really. They got attacked by a rock, a giant bird. Although they seem to be mostly captained by dwarves, interestingly enough. And the ferocious figure, the dwarves, actually, this is interesting. So this is the Curse of Emeralds, which is a Goblin Civ. In the year 55, the Curse of Emeralds rejected the offer of peace from the ferocious figure. But in the year 55, just after, they accepted it from the Confederacy of Slop, which are humans. So they actually became pieces. They actually became like, not pieces. They gained peace with the humans in the year 55. There's actually some peace going on here. Dwarves are embezzling funds. Interesting. I've never seen a head executioner before. I would love to see. I'm actually... This is something I don't hear anybody talking about with the Steam version. I want to know what the Steam version of Legends is going to look like. Is it literally just going to be this with a prettier font? Or are they actually going to add anything? More gruesome sculptures. The bodies of the human Lay and the dwarf Cyril and an elf and a bunch of others were all horribly mutilated in Tower Blaze. Hello, Microflora. I must have a Disnoff host because people keep popping in with Noff emotes. What's up? We're in Legends mode in DF. We're doing some world building and then we're going to start a new fort. By world building, I mean I read walls of text and you listen, maybe. Going as well as it can be with the way the world is currently. Is Disnov still grinding that Bannerlord? I'm hoping in like 2 weeks that the directory will be dead enough that I can actually stream that. Icod the Human? Oh, jeez. These guys are just like making basically pillars of flesh and gore. Like that's what all these little paragraphs are, is it's just names of dwarves and humans and elves that are all getting impaled and sculpted into gruesome sculptures. Grisly Mound. Lots of grisly mounds, just piles and piles of corpses. I'll be honest with you, I actually had a discussion with some of my chat when he was doing like 20-hour days, where we're just like, is he okay? Like, does he need help? Did someone bring him water? Like that shit makes me worried when I see people doing that. The Curse of the Emerald ceremony in Jump Glazed as part of the Spray Festival event featured images, incense burning, and banners and candles. The year 67, the Curse of Emeralds held a procession in Jump Glazed as part of the Spidery Festival. The event featured images of order and prestance and candles. I like the descriptions of their little festivals. I love them. The fooled the Curse of Emeralds into believing the dwarf Atu was part of the Curse of Emeralds. The dwarf Vutok, Wardbrills, fooled the Curse of Emeralds into believing he was the dwarf Bard Bax. Coldtix. It's like this, the dwarven civilization is like, so the Curse of Emeralds seems like a weird goblin civ, right? It is a goblin civ that is governed by a demon, but they keep electing dwarves as the head. And they might be evil, but they keep having these interesting like processions and ceremonies with candles and incense. They seem neat. Like all of their rulers are dwarves. Like look at this. The dwarf Oleg became the head executioner. The dwarf Ustes became the chamberlain. So like if we settle as part of the dwarven civilization ferocious figure, which is the only one that's left, and we go to war with these guys, I guarantee you the majority of the people attacking us are actually just gonna be other dwarves. Because of how many dwarves are in this group, which is interesting. They're also at peace with the humans currently in the timeline, which is year 78. Granted, we're at year 550 real time, but Pi, what up? It's good to see you. Curse Emeralds held this ceremony in Jump Glazed as part of the Festival of Doom. I like it. I like it a lot. The event featured images of banners and incense burning and candles and costumes. Man, I want somebody to draw that. What do you think that would look like? Like a goblin civilization with a large group of dwarves with gratuitous mounds of corpses building their walls at the edges of the pits. But they're holding a ceremony that's called the Festival of Doom, obviously, and it's featuring images of banners and incense burning and candles and costumes. I like it a lot. You think Cerno is celebrating that last month? Yeah, but I'd want to know what that would look like in like a fantasy setting. What game, Pi? And hello, Noctima. I always want to read your name Noctua. As in, like, the fan company. That makes coolers. I mean, virtual machines, like, guaranteed to make it work. And looks like they made it down to the caverns again because troglodytes are suddenly becoming enemies with them. Lacks of law. In the year 88, the curse... In the year 88, the Curse of Emeralds attacked the Lucid Intricities, the Flax layer of Flashford. The dwarf Sastot led the attack. Yeah, and also all of these dwarves have goblins' names. Caveland Pro. Well, I mean, I immediately found this. Just Googling it. Man, the most recent comment is from 2020. You want it to run on Windows 10. You want to run on Windows 10, I want to download some... Everybody's saying it's like just download a Windows emulator. But good luck getting that to run. Yep. This is distressing. A bunch of elves and dwarves and humans were hung from a pecan tree on rope reed ropes by the curse of emeralds in Flash Forward. They're hanging things from trees using rope reed ropes. I love the details. So they're like basically fighting and either turning their enemies into massive pillars of flesh or they are hanging them from trees. A techless brain. Anybody know any good like Windows 1998 emulators or free? Like, because I know there's VMware, but VMware is a little bit of a pain in the butt. But yeah, no, I'm always happy when I see Disnoff emotes in my chat because it's like, if it wasn't for Disnoff, this channel probably wouldn't be partnered. So like, I owe that dude a lot. Yeah, it is nasty, but awesome. I do like the Festival of Doom, though. I like how they keep having these processions where it's just like candles and incense. This is just bodies being put on pikes. Lots and lots of bodies being put on pikes. And made into gruesome sculptures and being hung from trees. Oh, there we go. The dwarf Gozu, horror vultures, became the keeper of the seal of the Curse of Emeralds. Interesting. They have keepers of seals? Keeper of the seal is like human diplomats. They have a keeper of the seal here, which is interesting. Uthas crush plagues began embezzling funds as the Chamberlain. Their banker is embezzling funds. The Twilight Horror, Zathra Estans, the Shady became the enemy. Twilight Horrors. I've never actually seen a Twilight Horror in game. Hello, Jack Nurick. Streamer's doing aight. Hope Jack Nurick is good. It looks like there must have been some time in peace in the mid 150s. Like, there's lots of, like, politicking going on. Like, people are becoming enemies, but... The wealthy coven of the Curse of Emeralds constructed the Wealthy Sanctuary. It's a good name, the Wealthy Sanctuary. Someone must have been, rich. Some of column A, some of column B. It didn't officially fall, but it was tantrum spiraling, and I was bored. I'd been bored for a while, unfortunately. So this is a new world, and we're going through legends. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get too much more here. Again, oh, they went to war with the Confederacy of Slop, and now they're back at peace with them. Interesting. So they have like a mixed relationship with the humans. They're at peace for a little bit, and then they go back to war, and then they're at peace for a little bit, and then they go back to war. The climatic growl. Okay, we need to figure out who the climatic growl is, because they accepted a peace offer in 230. Who's the climatic growl? Was an elven civilization formed in year 1. Well, of course. Of course. Of course they would go to peace with the goblins. Filthy elves. The Midnight of Climaxes. I'm sorry, what? Oh, it was a goblin group? Gotcha. Paints of Clinching. Let's just go see if we can find some funny names. Coalitions of Alliances. Investments are open, heads up. I want to know who the Indigo Dooms are. The Indigo Dooms, by the way, is my new stoner metal band. It was a goblin group. That seems to have done nothing. In year 2, 2 people became members of the Indigo Dooms. They constructed sling steel. The goblin Vile Lobster became the position of chief executioner. Doomed Wet Goblin became their chief executioner. So they got a chief executioner and then a chief executioner as a master of course. And then they began accepting bribes in exchange for leniency as the warlord. And then that's the Cruelty of Gulf. Bulbous Knives. Unspeakable Limbs, the Innocent Hate. The Fellowship of Visiting. It's a human group. Probably got obliterated by something. Shh, Pie. You're stealing my jokes. Okay. They're still around. Oh, never mind. They got defeated by the Bronze Cooperation. Of the relieved avenged and took over Holy Praise as the new government and was called the Comedy of Addicts. No and no. Completely separate system. The Ruthless Bowels. That's a funny name. The Ungodly Loots. The Oaks of War. Of course, it's an elven civ because it's got the Infinite. Oh, I thought it said Satan. I'm sad. I mean, it kind of says Satan, but wrong kind of Satan. The Company of Spiraling. Every dwarven fortress ever. There's a weaponsmith's guild in the Dimensions of Vision. The Company of Spiraling was formed in Jump Glazed. Tome of Glens. I'm looking for Lined Wires, Human Group. Compass. Compass! They're a compass. Lined Wires. The Volcano of Shaking. I'm literally just looking for funny names right now. I haven't found any too funny ones. North Doctrine's a pretty badass name. It was a human religion of the Dimensions of Vision centered around the worship of Ukep, the human goddess of travelers. Huh. Blameless Cloven, Insightful Plagues. The Livid Coven. The Oceanic Doctrine. Yeah, not too many, no funny names. We haven't gotten any Duber yet. Squirted Shaft, the Lake of Mussels. It's a cave called Squirted Shaft, the Lake of Mussels. Wicked Lead is a really good Dark Fortress name. That's relevant? What? No. Cove, not COVID. Breached back, jump glazed. Or nadir. Devil Heat. That's a good one. I like that one. Devil Oiled is almost as good. The Spider of Jades of the Washed Seducer formed Devil Heat. Thank you, Hobo. Jackalaster. What's this? Jackalaster. I like that one. Kind of sounds like Jack-o'-lantern. I think it might be time to start a fort soon. I mean, use any other word. Basically, just try to avoid using homophobic slurs in the channel of any kind, because it will receive you a bop. I know that you were making a joke, but, like, don't use that word or the term, you know, starts with a G and ends, or starts with an F and ends with a G. I have a mosquito bite, motherfucker. So don't use those words to make jokes here. Just think of a better word. I get it, but I know you didn't mean it, but something that you should remove from your vocabulary. Cult Night. That's fucking good. Cult Night was a monastery. Hey, we're gonna go to Cult Night and sacrifice some goats. That was easy. Bye. Claimed Forge. Time to forbid all non-valuable metals, man. Cult Knight's a really good name. Gawkatukler. Cult Knight. Syrup Swords? Should tweet that at Kit Fox. I feel like they might like that. Because they're making a game about swords. You won a few Cult Night matches yesterday. You're going to join the tournament next TwitchCon 2021. Yeah. Wait, were you actually playing Fortnite? That doesn't sound like you. Knowing Glinched. Staff waxed. You know you got to wax your staff, if you know what I'm saying. I read that as snot clasp instead of shot clasp. Work calm. Work calm was a tower. Come to this tower and work calmly. Keep calm and carry on. Legendary Iron Splint. Hey, man. Never used that splint to be real happy. All right, guys. I think it's time for us to make a fort. What do we think? think it's time for us to make a fort.